Um, hey everybody, thank you very much for taking time to watch this video, for supporting my mission and for engaging in my cause. So those who know me will testify that I do not come up with half-measure ideas, and this one is for sure not one of those either. And for those who don't, I will introduce myself briefly. My name is Edvinas Stankaitis. Originally I'm from Lithuania, 35 years old dude, father of two most wonderful, amazing children in the universe. And for the last 6.5 years, I have found myself living in Scotland, in a beautiful place called Livingston, where I was fortunate enough to run my own health and fitness business. I'm broadcasting from it now as well, because I thought that's probably would be the best place to share these good news that I'm about to share with you. Now, so I am about to embark on a big spiritual pilgrimage across Europe, all the way to Middle East. The Peace Walk, as I call it. So a walking journey that will take me from Livingston, Scotland, all the way across Europe to Israel, to Jerusalem. So it is a big challenge. It will take me to cross 17 different countries, covering nearly 6,000 kilometers, and I'm hoping it's not going to take me any longer than 6 months. So those are my rough calculations. And I can hear you thinking, I can hear you questioning, why such a big challenge? Why why would you do it? What is the motivation? And I'll need to be very honest with you. There are a variety of different motivations, and they're all kind of interconnected and multi-layered. And I would like to talk about all of them in due time too. So please do stay tuned in. Please do follow my Facebook page or Instagram, or there will be links to my blog as well, if you kind of sympathize of what I'm talking here. So now, what is the big why? I'll try to keep it pretty short, and I'll just share the big why in this video. So spirituality became a big part of my life over the last couple of years, and I would like to share my story. So my big motivation is I would like to work for God. Not any particular organization, not any particular religion, not any particular institution, but I would like to work towards unity of all people, towards unity of all faiths. You see, I haven't found my connection to God through one book. I'm no scholar of one particular teaching or religion. I would rather see myself as a disciple of a variety of different disciplines and cultures and ideologies. Neither am I. I've been trained in or accredited or got any certifications in theology. And to be very honest with you, for the most of my life, I have been anything but spiritual. So, as you see, I have none of the accreditations required for such a vocation that I'm about to undertake. But nevertheless, I know that I have a very kind of a personal relationship with God. He speaks to me in a variety of different ways, and through some very close kind of encounters. I know God speaks to me through meditation, through prayer, through collective unconscious, through channeling via other people, especially my own kids, through knowledge of life sciences and history, through cannabis, through dance and music, and even exercise. I found loads of God in my own gym, through mantras and affirmations and chants, and through a variety of different other mediums. Most importantly, I know it speaks to me through my soul, through my inner self, through my emotion, and through my feeling. She speaks to me, sometimes she speaks to me through a blessing, sometimes she speaks to me through a lesson. So, a little bit more of my personal story now, to kind of tie it all together. Over the last couple of years, I went through some pretty turbulent and challenging times. Young business, a startup, finances, troubles, personal kind of relationships breaking down as well, followed by depression, kind of pushed me into self-inflicted isolation from the rest of the community as well, to make matters even worse. So at my lowest, when I was hitting the rock bottom, I know it was my faith that helped me to stay afloat. Now, coming out at the other end of all those challenges, I know, and I can keep my head up high and say that it was due to my newly discovered and developing faith that I'm still alive here today. So, what has my experience taught me? Two things, okay? Two things that I would like to kind of share with you in this video. So, first of all, that there are more than one ways of connecting to the big mind, to the great spirit, to the supernatural, to God. Call it whatever you want. You know, it really doesn't care what combination of letters and what language you're gonna use, you know, to address it. That's number one. You know, if somebody's going to come up to you and say that there's only this way or only that way, or the only way to God is through Jesus, and I'm going to speak to you from Christian perspective, since my roots are Christian and I worship with my community on Sunday. Nevertheless, some of the perspectives and understandings of religion need to change, and this is what I want to talk about. So, if anybody's going to tell you that there's only one way to God, like for example through Jesus, I would seriously doubt that, and I would seek a second opinion. You know, that's me trying to be very, very polite here. In defense of the guy, he was of Jesus. You know, he was very bright, very well versed in Hebrew Bible, with very high spiritual energy, with consciousness that was more than cosmic, and naturally people saw him and took him as a son of God. But so are you, a child of God, and so am I. Okay, I'll expand more on this one in the future. So that takes me to the kind of revelation number 2. Okay, since the guy lived 2,000 years ago, and nothing, you know, none of the teachings, none of the language that we use to understand religion has really changed. I think it's a time for an update. You know, when I got taught religion, when I got taught about God, and when I reached the age of cognitive kind of a reasoning and questioning, and when I understood the sciences, those two stories clashed, you know, so the kind of the biblical story and the knowledge of sciences today clashed big time. So that kind of made me disconnect completely, you know. So if I was disconnect completely from spirituality, you know, I constantly say if I was God today, I would be pretty pissed off, you know, because if you think medicine has advanced, you know, the way we build communities has advanced, all the science has evolved, as biology, as chemistry, as physics, the way we, you know, the technologies, we can fly to Mars today, and yet we still talk about religion in the language that was used 2,000 years ago. You know, if I was God, I would go like, come on guys, you know, surely you can do a little bit better than that. So that's number 2. So I would like to share my story and encourage other people to share their ways of you know, finding their spiritual self, awakening, and I think the more we do that, the more tolerant we grow towards each other. Because let me tell you this, I think one of the biggest problems today, one of the biggest cancers in society, is lack of tolerance towards other forms of belief, towards different faiths, and towards different ways of being. So I would like to share my story, God's news. Okay, so that's part number 1. Okay, so it's kind of a spilling the beans, spilling a little bit of emotion, and in the second part of this video, I would like to kind of bring it back a little bit and explain how all this ties in into the spiritual journey, and what it really means, what's the biggest motivation for me. So when I put the news on, you know, our regular news on the telly, all I can see is crisis. Political, economic, religious, ideological, freedom of speech crisis, distribution of vital resources for the people. Everywhere you look, we seem to be struggling, you know, in different areas. Environmental crisis as well. So that's on one hand, you know, and on the other hand, on the flip side of the coin, you see small pockets of people working really hard to bring the balance of love, of peace, of tolerance back to the balance, and working hard for it. I worship with a community of Christians, which is relatively small community, few hundred people. And these guys do the most amazing work, here in Scotland, where we're based, and on a global scale as well. So I would like to be one of the latter people, a light worker, a healer. So for that reason, I would like to, encourage and inspire others as well. When politics are failing, when guns and tanks are failing, when banks are failing, when fake news are failing, I think different kind of approach is required. So I would like to walk my spiritual journey to Jerusalem, across the continent of Europe that seems to be divided more than ever before, all the way to the Middle East, torn by war, by humanitarian crisis, and walk with open heart and peaceful mind, and with the message of support, of compassion, and of coexistence in harmony. Only in unity we can make this planet work, and we can only heal together. So less time of holding guns in our arms, and more time spent in holding hands of each other. So now I'm just gonna get back to my notes, okay? This is my mission. This is how I would like to kind of express my protest of what is happening in the world today. This is my Via Europea, and that is inspired largely by Via Baltica. And if you don't know what Via Baltica is, please go and Google it, okay, after the video is finished. So for now, the relationship with God is a very, very personal affair, okay? And although we have been we seem different, we have been created from the same universal building blocks. So the moon, the cheese, the trees, the bees, the seas, and the mountains, and this rhymes as well, eh? Everything is created, and all the human species, regardless of your shape, of your size, of your color, of your religion, of your idiom, of your your background, it doesn't really matter. We have all been created equally. So if we want to make this work, if we want to leave anything worthy on this planet for our children, and let me tell you this, we are destroying it, and at unprecedented rate. If we want to leave anything worthy for our children, and that is another big motivation, but I will expand about this one in a future video, since this topic is massive. If we want to change anything, of the problems that we are facing today, we need to do it from a higher consciousness level, from a more spiritual level. So all the problems that we have created by materialism, consumerism, and focus on just psychological and mental issues can only be solved from a spiritual level. Now, so if I can help raise one spirit, my mission is already a success. Okay. I understand. I realize that the challenge is massive. Going to where I want to walk and talking about what I want to share, and I realize I cannot do this on my own. So, to be honest with you, if just to share between you and me in this video, nothing in my life worth sharing or talking about was really achieved without support of the community, whether it was learning, growing, trying new things, starting new things, failing, and getting over things, and healing was always with the support of the community. There were always people right next to me, above me, underneath me, and around me, to support in whatever I was trying to achieve. So today I ask my family, my friends, my community, and good people alike to support me with prayers, with good wishes, and with donations to help me achieve this big challenge, and to help raise awareness of spirituality and unity across the globe. Okay, all the updates and information will be uploaded, and it will flow freely on social media platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, and my personal blog as well. Links to all of those you will find in the description below in this video. Okay, I'll keep it at that. As you can see, it's already a pretty lengthy video, and thank you very much for watching the video, and I will ask God to bless you with peace and light in your heart, peace in your mind, love for your body and for your neighbor, truth for your words, in your thoughts and in your deeds, compassion for self and other, forgiveness for other and self, and I hope you live in faith and joy every day. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.